Thousand Bokoko Mkholisaro wasendoda lesugogo Bathini Mbatha. Today sikhuluma Idlozi eliphilayo. I don't know. I think winter I get to think deep about ancestors and the journey of living, the journey of dying, the journey of becoming an ancestor. But today I want us to talk about these ancestors that are alive. The reason, let me explain something first. The reason kuthiwa bogogo nomkhulu is because umuntu ungenwa idlozi esikhathini esiningi, not always, isikhathi esiningi ungena idlozi is either leka gogo wakhe, whether from the mother side or from the father side, or ungena idlozi leka mkhulu wakhe is either from the mother side or from the father side. Idlozi sokumuntu osuke waphila. We worship, we praise, we do everything for our ancestors, but most of the time we don't know the mistakes that they did when they were still alive, which makes them not to qualify in giving you some of the blessings. And why they're punishing you instead of punishing their children? It's because maybe their children are trying, but they want to be spiteful to you. They just want to damage you for the sake that they know which there's something that they did wrong when they were still alive. It took me years to do this video because I've been trying to think about it. Ukuthi ngingabi personal mangikhuluma ngayo. Rather, let me be as usually general as possible. The lives that we are living, or the lives that our parents are living or they've lived, it says a lot about what kind of ancestor one is going to be. Especially if they can die before they rectify some of the mistakes that they have done. Then that qualifies them to be called Idlozi. This video might be a bit complicated because, as I've said, it makes me so emotional. If you start working, you start seeing somebody, then according to you, suddenly umama kuyathakatha, ubaba kuyathakatha. Then you don't pay attention to them because your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you know, they're influencing you to listen to them and everything. One day your children or yourself will kneel down uphahla and say, Mama, gogo wengane zami kuyabheda, or gogo kuyabheda. You now forgot ukuthi ugogo wakho raised you when your mom was nowhere to be found. But as soon as you started working and you see the big lights and then you thought you were smart and you forgot a place called home. What do you expect your ancestor to react on you, on your request, while you know very well ukuthi wena what you did to her? Yes, it's a fact. Sometimes my parents genzeka vele uyathakatha. It's a fact. We cannot run away from that. That's why sometimes, but yes, you say you want to give her or him blessings, but you don't qualify. You are not clean enough to do that. You can't. It's not your position. Yeah, but she or he's asking me to do that. No. Don't worry. Somebody one day will tell him or her ukuthi who must they talk to when they by your partner. The decisions that sometimes we take are problematic. They make us to be bitter individuals. And being a bitter individual, you become a bitter ancestor one day. Sometimes we have scars. From our parents. Sometimes we don't forget our parents because of we want to. Sometimes because of we are bleeding. And sometimes you want to forgive her, you want to forgive him. And sometimes you have forgiven. But ngaphakathi wena unento ethi as much as ngikuxolele, but you don't have a space in my life because you have burnt the house in my heart. You have burnt the house in my heart. So I'm left with one room in my heart, and that is enough for the family, for my siblings, for my children, for my partner. That's it. You don't have a space in my life, meaning you want nothing to do with them. As much as you forgive them, but you want nothing to do with them. Why? Because they've created a scar. The scar that is actually passing to your children. Because your children can see ukuthi there is no relationship between them and the grandparent, and between you and the grandparent. But our children, as you know, the children of these days are so inquisitive. They will ask themselves one day, ukuthi makuthiwa ugogo or umkhulu isangoma ungene mina. Angangena mina kanjani after asishiye sopha? Angazi kwenzakaleni between yena noma. I wasn't there. I wasn't born. I don't know. But I was old enough to see ukuthi there's no relationship. How can umkhulu comes to me and say I must do something for him while he left umama with so much scars inside her? Sometimes people, they don't say they want nothing to do with their parents. That's why I would like parents ukuthi bazinuka amakhwapha. If ever the hatred that is there, it's so true ukuthi it has nothing to do with you but your children, it's fine. Your child will pay the price. It's okay. But we need to ask ourselves ukuthi the actions we are taking, the responsibility we are taking for our children, everything that we are doing, Is it online now for us to be at least better ancestors? Some ancestors, they don't respond because they are in a bad space. There are things that were supposed to be resolved on earth. They failed. It is painful to be failed at birth by not knowing your true identity. It's painful to be just for somebody to also hate you when you are an adult. And still they refuse to acknowledge ukuthi what went wrong. Then you die. Kunamadlozi esiwabizayo akawabi amadlozi kusasa amathongo. They are still far. They are on a queue. Maybe washona 20 years or 30 years abakafiki. They are still far. And abashone after yena, they are inside where they belong. This thing is like, it's like being a Christian and say, oh, I pray, I love Jesus. I can't sleep without praying. I would rather sleep without bathing, not without praying. Me and church and Bible, I cannot miss the service of the church. No, whatever. But you hate your neighbor. But you don't like umakoti wako. You don't like umkhwenyana wako. There are people who are like that. It's a fact. Then do you think uNkulunkulu will listen to your prayers? No. It's worse if you die with that cloud inside you. I'm worried. Sometimes kunabantu abathwasisa idlozi eli wrong. Uzwe kuthiwa ungenwe ugogo wakho, ungenwe umkhulu wakho, kanti ugogo wakho or umkhulu wakho ufuna ukuthi umxolele. Ufuna ucela uxolo. Kodwa uzwe lokuthiwa unabantu abadala, No, abantu abadala, they want a meeting. Which is impossible for that meeting to happen. Because he or she was supposed to solve whatever issues were there. So, before we do any action, do a self-introspection. Get a person that will rather open your dreams to be more clearer before you take an action. That will assist you. Before you go and uyophahla, that's why ngithi mawuphahla you must thokozani bogogo nomkhulu basekhaya koma, thokozani bogogo nomkhulu basekhaya kithi, not thokoza gogo. Other people, they come here but kuthiwa fanele kube ugogo usibani bani. I am not in dispute with that. But make a research. Make a research. Do a self-introspection. Speak to people. Get help for you to rather, be more clearer, like more tight with your visions. Then you can take a decision. Even if you're taking a wrong decision, they have seen your efforts. No, he didn't do that. No. Ubuzile wabuzo wacela wazo waboniswa umuntu. I have people bathi gogo nguphuphile and everything, and when I go to work, when I open my computer, somebody was using it on YouTube and I saw you and I said, I know this guy. Why usuke uboniswa ukuthi akuhambe uyozwa nalapha? They are not saying go and take a decision. No. Awuhambe uyozwa nalapha. So it is very important for us ukuthi sithathe ama-decisions are right, because they are going to affect our children, our grandchildren, because as ourselves, we are going to be called ancestors one day. And as soon as you bring a child in this earth, you are a living ancestor, because your child will have a child. And uzoba umkhulu, uzoba ugogo, usushonile. Uzoyenza kahle kanjani usungale ubukathi uhluleka ukwenza kahle usaphila. I've said it, this will be too much complicated, because it's something that makes me so emotional. Looking at how we live our lives. It's even difficult for me to introduce my children to physically introduce them into what I'm doing. They know what I'm doing. They can see what I'm doing. But I don't want to force it to them as if they are going to be traditional healers themselves as well. No, I don't want to talk to my children in that language. I don't talk about that, because I want them to take a decision based on what is going on in their lives at that particular time when it comes. But I'm really worried about our ancestors. And I'm definitely sure ukuthi amanye amadlozi esiwaphahlelayo siphahlela amaphara amadlozi. Kunabo baba, I'll speak to abo baba kakhulu. Bebade besuke emakhaya bathi bayosebenza. They've never returned back. Babuya sebethule. Imagine the pain of growing up to ungcwatsha umkhulu wakho. You have never even seen that mkhulu with your naked eyes as a child. Then suddenly kuthiwa umkhulu wakho eGoli bekalapha. So ungenile na unabantu abadala kufanele ukuthi ulaphi. I'm talking about a grandfather who abandoned the family until they were grandchildren. Ikhona loma examples. Ukuthi angithandi ukubiza amagama abantu. Akhona loma examples. Bakhona abantu abayeke bafika bangitshela such things. Even if ubuya unganabazukulu kodwa ubuya ingane sezindala sezikwazi ukuyithathela inqumo, then you want to rule, or ubuya usowushonile uthule, you are dead. Then what kind of ancestor do you assume you're going to be when? There's a child somewhere that is hungry, is not eating. You are not paying a cent towards that child's maintenance, and you are working. Not that you cannot afford it, you are working. Or at least seeing that child. You don't. Just a cent to give that child, to say, I'm a sweet. At least once in a while then, if that's the case. You don't care. When the baby mama calls you, you insult her. Ungifonelelani ngixabanisa nomfazi wami. Ufunani kimi? So umntanakho wena musuqhamuka ke manje ungasekho, usumkhulu enganeni yakhe, ekubeni ukhule atshela ingane yakhe ukuthi I want to be there for you because my father was not there for me. And I want to be a different father. I want to be the different character into your life. I want to do everything that I had a vacuum on when I was growing up. I want to be there for you. And I want to do everything in my powers. I want to be the better father. My father was not there, but I'm going to be there for you. That child knows ukuthi umkhulu was not a part and parcel of my father's life. umntwana bathi kufanele uhlabele umkhulu wakho uthi uyagodola umntana ashaye phansi ngonyawo umkhulu kanti ngale unama powers obuthakathi avala izinto umntana ahlupheke uvala izinto because you are a bitter ancestor, ungrateful bitter ancestor. Kunabo mama bathatha ingane zabo bazise emsebenzini yabo babazo. Ay lengane ingichithile isikhathi or whatever reason they abandoned their children, bayilahle ema dustbin, bayiflash ema toilet. What do you expect to see happening? Now, this is an opportunity now. You are a ancestor now. What are your expectations? What are your silly expectations? You're going to be a bitter ancestor. Kunabantu yengibatshele mina ngithi mawuphahla ungayisebenzisi impepho nginezathu engayitshela ugogo mina ukuthi kokunye ukuphahla kuyayidinga impepho kusikhathi esiningi ukuphahla kuyidinga impepho kudinga ibani ezokunika i-direction ukuthi uyaphi uyellow no blue loyo ungaya la uthanda khona wabuza wonke umhlaba uzokutshela why uyellow no blue because uyellow no blue usondeza the relevant ancestors because it's not only about your biologically grandmother or grandfather. It can be a grandmother within the family stream of the ancestors. Maybe the further backwards generation. So we need to be extra careful. Sometimes the guy wants to be involved, wants to do everything they could for their children, but when a baby mama awufuni, then you feed your child lies. Your father hates you. Your father never liked you. Wakpiga. What are you instilling to the child? That's why abanye abantwana bagula. Agula umntwana, kakhulu azima uqamba amanga. Agula umntwana. Agule like real sick. Then you end up saying, you know what, I need to find this guy. And when they're with that guy, they're smiling, they're fine. For the very first time in the longest time. Then you are surprised. Bayathakatha kule family, no. Abathakatha, you were lying to a child. They wanted to relieve the child just a little bit. Just for a moment from your lies. Guys, I'm too emotional about this video. Please allow me to leave it here. And if you need part 2 of it, there's still a lot. I'm boiling about this video. There's still a lot that I'm going to do. You know, there's still a lot that I'm going to do, the research and everything, and also self-introspection to resolve issues that I have myself with whoever. But thank you so much for watching my videos. Gogo Bathini Mbatha. Don't forget the booking line 0357995703. Don't forget to like, to share, and to discuss about my videos with your friends, with your siblings. If one of your video or this one healed you, imagine what it can do to another person. So please let's share as much as possible, and sometimes repeat it, watch it twice, so that you truly understand. Because I can read the comments, you find people saying, no, you're not supposed to say this. You can hear what Lomuntu Lona was watching, you know, to criticize, not to be informed. What is it that Isalukazi Sendoda is saying? Because whatever I'm saying, I'm not trying to explain anything. I'm telling. I'm dead telling. But if I'm lying, tough luck. I'm sorry if I'm lying. Thokozani.